A very good morning to you. It's Friday morning, my dear friends. I'm George Grant. Thank you for joining us for today's edition of Good Day, Grenada. It's a pretty good morning. Just had a look outside there. A beautiful view down over the Carenage. Let's take a look, see what we've got coming your way this morning. First of all, we're going to take a look at what's in store for the upcoming cruise season with a conversation I had only yesterday morning with Nicoyan Roberts. And Nicoyan is the nautical development officer with the Grenada Tourism Authority. After that, we're going to take a look at the national report from the GIS. And finally, we're going to take a look at government's reaction to the Silver Sands protest through a media release, which was issued just before noon yesterday. And to take that look, what we're going to be doing is having a conversation with a gentleman who was with us yesterday morning, was it? Or day before yesterday. Mr. Randall Robinson, who's been spearheading the protest going on down at the Silver Sands at Grand Anse. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do this morning is get into that little conversation which I had with Nicoyan yesterday. We talked about the prospects for the upcoming cruise season, and there's also some good news which I'm going to share with you in just a wee bit. So first of all, here comes Nicoyan.
Good morning, George, and good morning to everyone who's looking at this. And the upcoming season promises to be better than last season. All our stakeholders are engaged, enthusiastic. We've done a number of strategic things to ensure that as we build the numbers, we also build on the experiences of all of the cruise guests who come off. A cruising passenger offers us an opportunity to convert by putting our best foot forward, and this guest can become a stay-over guest. So that's an important value for us to understand. The Grenada Ministry of Tourism and the Grenada Tourism Authority, recognizing how we needed to work with stakeholders and up our game, engaged a cruise guest experience consultancy from March to September this year. And this has been a financial public-private partnership, and we have worked with a number of tour operators led by the port agent and tour consolidator, Georgia Huggins and Company Limited, to bring some new direction into what we are doing for our guests and help their experiences to become wow experiences. That consultancy had 4 key deliverables. The first one was to enhance the guest experience at the Melville Street Cruise Port and the Esplanade Mall. The second one was to ensure that we work with the police and other relevant stakeholders on the traffic flow in the city of St. George's, train our tour guides so that they can do a walking tour in the city with the guests who disembark, and look at how we improve the experience when they're purchasing gifts and spices at the St. George's Market and in the Art and Historic District of St. George's. The consultant also worked Miko Kashkash, our former Vice President of Shore Excursions for Carnival Cruise Lines. He worked with our tour operators to look at all of the tours, see how value could be added, how tours could be bundled, how they could be innovated. And the last aspect was keeping in constant contact with the industry, being able to provide updates at conferences and trade shows in March, in June, and also in November. This year we have had 2 high-level visits in May. We hosted the president of the FCCA and the chief operating officer of Royal Caribbean Cruise Lines, Adam Goldstein. And yesterday, we hosted a high-level delegation from the Carnival Corporation, led by President and CEO Arnold Donald. He came in with 5 vice presidents, all responsible for government relations, port development, and philanthropic public relations, business development opportunities.
Okay, as far as this new season is concerned, Are you going to have anything new on offering?
We most certainly have new guest experiences on offer. Currently, we have a tour portfolio that is provided by different operators but consolidated through two main operators on island, George F. Hugginson Company Limited and Tropical Charms. The portfolio of tours that are offered, approximately 40. And for this season, 2018 to 2019, 7 new tours have been brought to the table. These center around immersive experiences, chocolates, gardens, horticulture, culinary experiences, and soft adventure experiences. That provides the cruise guest with a deepened ability, multi-generational, grandparents, parents, children, to engage with Grenadians and actually learn. We're not just showing them, but they're also experiencing how to do different things.
Okay, over the years, Grenada has had a bit of a drought with the cruise sector, but I noticed that in the last couple of years, we're really seeing some major improvements. What do you attribute that to?
I attribute that to an increased engagement of the industry, electronically, face-to-face, pumping the pavements, going to meetings, bringing them in, speaking with the shore excursion teams, and having a collaborative partnership approach between the public sector and the private sector to make sure these marketing strategies work. We've engaged passengers, cruise guests who come off, using a social media program, where last year they were able to take pictures and videos and post and have friends like, etc. So we reached a broad range from industry to trade to the consumers, letting them know about the experiences they can have in Grenada, which are authentic and exciting for everyone. Marketing strategies, public-private sector collaboration, constant engagement with the cruise industry. That has ensured that year to date, our cruise numbers are up 27%. That ensures that our projections, although conservative for this season, exceed the number of cruise guests we welcome over last season.
Ain't that good news? Ain't that good? A 27% increase? 27%. But you know what's even better? After that conversation, we were talking for a few minutes, and she was telling me that Carnival Cruise Lines, many years ago, many of you may remember that I used to work on the Rum Runner. Did that for about 13 years. And it was such a joy when Carnival came here year round. I remember the day, Tuesday mornings at 8 o'clock, we would be pulling up alongside that ship, taking a couple hundred people down to BBC, showing them a really good time about this place, and sending them back home with the good news about Grenada. Well, looks like it's not going to happen within the next year or so, but apparently it's going to happen. Carnival plans on probably coming back here year round. That's fantastic news. Okay. Good morning to John. Okay. John wants to know if this is going to include Carriacou. John, where are we going to put one of these mega ships? Have you seen the size of that ship that's coming in here on Monday morning? I think it is about 9 o'clock on Monday morning. The Carnival Breeze. John, that ship has 4,000 plus guests on board, or should have. That's her capacity, and about 1,300 crew members. We're all coming to bunk at your house, okay? So, yeah. Morning, John, on Facebook. Cecilia Flanders says, good morning. London, England is hearing you loud and clear. Wishing you a happy weekend. Well, Cecilia, thank you very much, and I wish the same for you. I see that Earl Joseph Maitland is there, and so is our good buddy out there in Zurich. Thank you all for joining us. Now, let us take a first little break here, and then we'll come back with a national report, and then after that, we're going to try and get a hold of Mr. Ronald Robinson.
So, babe, Alberto and Beryl come and gone, right? So that means we still have Chris, Debbie, Florence, Michael, Patty, Sarah.
From the looks of it, Tony and Valerie might be coming as well. So we need to pick up some extra hurricane supplies.
You don't know how many hurricanes will be coming this season, so you need to be prepared. At Hubbard's Hardware and Building Supply Departments and the Food Fair supermarkets, everything from canned foods, flashlights and batteries, to plywood, tarpaulin, lanterns, roof repair kits, water tanks, etc. are available. For over 90 years, we've helped you prepare for and recover from storms. Hubbard's is an integral part of your hurricane preparedness plan. Get discounts when using credit and debit cards.
Easy living should be convenient. With Grennek, it is. Dial 237 for any Grennek department, or for customer service, streetlight outages, or if it's unsafe to trim a tree near a power line. For streetlights and service issues, please note the pole number. From just about anywhere, you can also check your bill balance and other account information. Just keep your Grennek access number handy. Dial 237 for Grennek. It's that easy. Grennek, energizing our Grenada.
Co-op Bank cares about your financial future, which is why we want you to join us on Thursday, September 20th from 5 to 8 p.m. at the Grenada Trade Center for our first National Growth and Investment Dialogue. Come and be enlightened on seizing opportunities to grow your wealth.
Grenada Market has now introduced the prime products to online shoppers in the UK via amazon.co.uk. Zeberpick, Nutmeg, Bourbonday and Mobiback are now available, with more products being added gradually. These products are shipped across the UK and Europe free of charge for Amazon Prime members and backed by Amazon's reputable customer service. Avoid international shipping. Buy in your local area. Amazon.com in the USA, Amazon.ca in Canada, and Amazon.co.uk in UK and Europe. GrenadaMarket.com. When you can't come to the island, the products of the island will come to you.
Alrighty, folks, back to, let's see here, Facebook for just a minute. John is optimistic that he will get Carnival to come to Carriacou because he says here the Chinese want a deep sea port in Hillsborough. Now, there's a guy who's thinking ahead. Okay, John, we'll see what we can do. And by the way, also a very good morning to Benign Neglect. I don't think I've seen you at this time of the morning before, but we are delighted that you are with us. Right now, my dear friends, let us turn to this week's edition, or today's edition, of the National Report.
China's hospital ship to visit for a second time in 3 years. Details to this story and more in the National Report. With the details to the news for Thursday, September 20th, I am Rikisha St. Louis. 3 years after its maiden voyage to Grenada, where more than 9,000 Grenadians had access to a variety of medical services, The world-famous Ark Peace Hospital ship of the People's Republic of China is returning to the Spice Isle, but this time for a longer stay. Let's get more from this Kevin Frederick report.
We can announce that it's not going to be 10 years before the Ark Peace comes back. In fact, the Ark Peace will be in Grenada from the 2nd to the 9th of October. It will be seeing members of the public from the 4th to the 7th of October.
That was Grenada's Health Minister, the Honorable Nicholas Steele, making the official announcement of the world-famous Ark Peace of China's People's Liberation Army Navy scheduled return to Grenada next month. The Ark Peace is expected to arrive at the Melville Street Cruise Port, downtown St. George, at about 10:30 a.m. on Tuesday, 2nd October, for what many anticipate would be another successful medical mission. The Grenadian Health Minister told reporters in St. George's that his ministry intends to make full use of the services.
We have put certain systems in place, which I would like to announce to ensure that we maximize the effectiveness, but also importantly, the efficiency of the visit of Ark Peace, to ensure that the contingent doctors that are on Ark Peace see as many Grenadians as possible, but that we prioritize the cases to be dealt with.
However, resident Chinese ambassador to Grenada, His Excellency Dr. Zhao Yongshen, added that the ship's current assignment, Harmonious Mission, includes visits to Latin American and Caribbean countries such as
Tonga, as well as some Latin American and Caribbean countries, including Venezuela, Dominica, Antigua and Barbuda, Dominican Republic, and Ecuador. Grenada was there. It is one of the most important stops for the Ark Peace. Since the commission, Ark Peace has undertaken 6 times mission harmonious medical service in 37 countries and area, encompassing 3 oceans and 6 continents.
The ambassador said that this time around, the visit would entail a deeper outreach program.
During this visit, the Ark Peace will not only provide medical service on the main platform, but also go deep into Grenadian crisis route. Expert teams will be dispatched to the Grenada General Hospital for John Rounds, clinics, surgeons, and medical exchange, as well as other forms of medical exchange, such as lecture in St. George University. In addition, they will also pay attention to local public health by sending medical units to communities, local schools, welfare homes, nursing homes, and other places for medical service. This island of Caliaco will be included.
The Ark Peace has a 300 beds capacity, 20 ICU beds, 8 operating theaters, and can perform 40 major surgeries per day, in addition to x-rays, ultrasounds, CTs, hemodialysis, traditional Chinese medicine, and dental facilities. The ship is also equipped with ultra-modern high-tech telemedicine units, which allows doctors aboard the vessel to remotely communicate with doctors and specialists on land to provide services in real time. For the National Report, I am Kevin Frederick.
The Ministry of Finance, Planning, Economic and Physical Development has requested specific adjustments to the Silver Sands Development Project following discrepancies identified. The ministry has been consistently holding discussions with the team of the Silver Sands Development Project since September 3, 2018, with a view to addressing variances to the project that were not approved. On Monday, September 17th, following a high-level meeting attended by the leadership of the ministry, the head of the Physical Planning Unit, and the team from the Silver Sands, the delegation visited the project site to ascertain the necessary remedial action. On site, The Ministry of Finance further assessed the situation and provided guidance to the developer on the specific adjustments required. Following the site visit, the developer complied with the advice of the team and immediately proceeded to undertake the recommended adjustments. The Ministry of Finance continues to be vigilant that all developments across the country adhere to approvals granted. Government is placing construction of a safe house for young at-risk females on its priority list. This announcement was made at the Royal Grenada Police Force launch of the Special Victims Unit and Hotline on Wednesday. For years, the media has been flooded with reports from the police force on increasing cases of missing girls and child abuse, and Acting Commissioner of Police Edwin Martin said this will soon be a thing of the past. He said discussions will begin on how to strategically remedy the situation involving young at-risk females and the perpetrators. Social Development and Community Empowerment Minister Honorable Delma Thomas said government also has plans to establish a safe house for these females to provide counseling and an enabling environment.
It's a place where you have house mothers, you interact with social workers and counselors. We have seen that there are many abuse cases, and when an issue arises for child protection to deal with the issue, because there's no way to put them, sometimes you put them in the next family and they get abused again. So we have looked at that, and in our budget coming in November, we will look to purchase a building and equip it, and so that when we have those cases, they can be cared for by persons who are trained, persons who care for them, not people who will abuse them even more than what they had before.
Director of the Child Protection Authority, Yvonne Dabrio, is happy that priority focus will be placed on providing more for the female victims. She said this news represents the dawn of a new era.
This is something that is critical. It's an area, it's a gap. And once this can come to fruition, it will certainly aid in the Child Protection Authority of Grenada honoring its mandate. Again, child protection is everybody's business. To address the issue of child abuse, and at the authority, we are not just focused, as you know, on child sexual abuse. Our focus is on child abuse.
This is the National Report. More news after the break.
The safety on our roads make this a major priority. Health of our people, a crucial necessity. Accidents happen when road users are either irresponsible or inconsiderate in one way or the other. Play your part. Reduce your speed. Be attentive. It is your personal responsibility. Let 2017 be the start of no more road fatality. Be safe, be seen, be smart. So let's wise up as a nation. Get to your destination safe.
Welcome back. Former President of the Caribbean Court of Justice, Sir Dennis Byron, says Grenadians need to see the merits of acceding to the Caribbean Court of Justice as the country's final court of appeal. Speaking at the first parish meeting organized by the CCJ Advisory Committee at the Deluxe Cinema in Grenville, Sir Dennis outlined 6 reasons why Grenadians should embrace the bold step of accession.
Joining the CCJ Appellate Division will improve access to justice. The Privy Council has not really played any part in the life of ordinary people in our society. But the countries that have acceded to the final appellate jurisdiction of the CCJ send several cases to the CCJ every year. And during this year, and it's just September, from the 3 countries who have sent cases before us, we have already received 25 cases.
Joining the CCJ appellate jurisdiction will afford the ordinary man the opportunity to use technology of the court to access justice. Also making a presentation at the St. Andrew public meeting was resident Glenn Noel.
The NDC and I not opposed to the CCJ. But I want to say to you that the CCJ would not come into reality unless we change our attitude in the way we do business, in the way we approach issues of national development and issues that concern Grenada.
Grenadians will vote in a referendum to have the CCJ replace the Privy Council as its final appellate court on November 6, 2018, the same date as Antigua and Bermuda. That story just brought the curtains down on the national report for today, Thursday, September 20th. Let's recap the top story. China's hospital shipped to visit for a second time in 3 years. On behalf of everyone who made the newscast possible, I'm Rikisha St. Louis saying thank you for viewing. Until next time.
All right, so there you have the National Report with Rikisha St. Louis. Now, I do have on the line with me, gentlemen, by the name of Mr. Randall Robinson, and I bet many of you are very curious about what he has to say about the news that came out yesterday from the government about their reaction to what's taking place down at Silver Sands. We're going to get to Randall right after this.
Grenadian General Insurance Company, strength and stability. Grenadian General Insurance Company, tell your friends, tell your family. We cover householders comprehensive, motor and even fire too. Contractors all risk burglary, public liability, professional indemnity, directors liability, and wait, we still have more. Come and find out more what you're waiting for.
We are located on Scott Street, St. George's. For more information, call 440-2434.
Tell everybody 237. If you wanna check the Grand Lac balance on your phone or report a faulty line near your home, if there is an emergency, take out your phone. These are 3 numbers that you should know. 237. Call me anytime, I'm always on the line. 237. Just call me anytime, I'm always on the line. 237.
I'm always on the move. Training, traveling, competing. So it's good to know I have Co-op Bank in the palm of my hand.
Introducing e-banking, one of many customer convenience services from Grenada Cooperative Bank, and there's more to come.
It's swift, simple, and secure.
Welcome home.
All right, folks, right now, let's say good morning to Randall. Hello there, Randall.
Good morning, George.
Thank you.
A little fire.
I sound a little far. How about now?
Right, that's much better.
All right. Randall's talking to me on the old smartphone here. Randall, I'm sorry to keep you waiting that long.
That's okay.
Yesterday I saw this release from the government, and once I read it, I thought, hey, I got to get some reaction from these guys, because just let me quote a little bit what it says here. It says, the Ministry of Finance, Planning, Economic and Physical Development has requested specific adjustments to the Silver Sands development project following discrepancies identified, with a view to addressing variances to the project that were not approved. Randall, explain to me in layman's terms so that I could understand what they're actually saying.
George, I think all of us are in the same position as you, trying to understand exactly what it is that they are trying to say. Now, what are these? All right, so there were structures that were not that it seems that they put up without having them approved. There were variances to the project that were not approved. Nobody is willing to come out and tell us what those variances were. How come we have walls on the beach? I mean, George, is that a part of are these walls that we are complaining about a part of the approved project? Because let me tell you what has happened. You remember we had gone down there, you had seen what was being removed. George, only that which we were looking at was removed. All of the other walls are right there along the beach, right? And now they are telling us, earlier, well, let me just say as a little bit of a backstory. Earlier, when they had put up that green fence along the beach, right? They had said, well, this was a temporary structure that they had erected so as to, do the construction behind it, so that people wouldn't be going on there and, you know what a construction site is like. So you have to keep people safe and so. So that's a temporary wall. Do you know that wall that was broken, a temporary fence, the wall that was broke down, George, was broken right back to where that so-called temporary fence is. And it seems like that is the boundary that these fellas are using. So this seems to be the boundary for the property. And within those boundaries, we find grape trees and so on. I don't know that we plant grape trees. I know we always plant grape trees in public property, in the public property. So they now have captive within their compound grape trees and stuff like that. George, somebody needs to come out from physical planning and explain to the Grenadian people what is approved and what was not approved on that project. As far as I know, and we have looked at countless constructions on the beach by locals as well as foreigners, nobody has these kinds of privacy walls up on the beach, right? Nobody. And they have all built more than 165 feet away from the high water mark. They have all done so. Everybody is in compliance with the law. Why is it that the latest addition, the newest kid on the block, is allowed to get away with this law-breaking activity? And it seems like the government is unable or unwilling to say to the gentleman that these things need to come down. I mean, that is a very wishy-washy kind of statement that they have come out with. It seems like they're bending over backwards to accommodate the developer. And I wonder why. I am sure if he must respect the fact that there are laws in Grenada and the law of the land does not permit him to be putting up these privacy walls on the beach or doing any construction within the zone that there is supposed to be no construction. And the law is clear. It says they shall not be given approval. Shall not be given approval. So there's nobody who is within the government who is able to give them approval according to the law.
You know, Randall, something you said I want to take up on here. You mentioned that it seems like government's bending over backwards to accommodate the investor. I don't have any difficulty with that at all, as long, Randall, as it's within the law.
Exactly, George. And I quite agree with you. I agree with you 100%. And we have no problem with the project. We think these things are good for Grenada. But they must abide by the laws of Grenada.
Yeah.
And that's all that we're asking, abide by the laws of Grenada. They want to put up privacy walls. What is that saying to those of us who use the beach? That is my property, or they can't come down here?
I was just going to ask you about that, because when I saw you guys on the beach a couple of days ago, I showed that footage. You mentioned to me that one of the workers there had explained to you guys that it seemed like they were trying to create cordon off certain areas for certain apartments or condos on the beach, which would give the tenants privacy?
Yes, George. That is exactly what it is. And I mean, they have, from what we are hearing from the people who live in the area and so on, the intimidation tactics have already begun. People, the fellas who rent the beach chairs and so on,
yeah.
They are made to feel that they're not welcome in the area. And they can't be in front there and all of that. And if every time we look at this project, I mean, down to the Jenny's Place, which a lot of people have had problems with her because she has built where, onto the beach there, put up this stonework and all this kind of thing there. That should not have happened. I know that Chester Humphrey was up in arms about it and had raised it in a number of fora, but it seems they let that slide. And now we have another one coming on. And where is it going to end, George? Where is it going to end? People have to obey the law of the land. This is how it starts, It starts in these kinds of ways. Oh, so that's at the end of the beach, man. Don't worry that. Let them people and them do what they want. And then it's going to start on the other end of the beach, and then they're going to creep up to the middle. And before you know it, Grenadians have no access to the beach. I mean, this is crazy. So we are asking the authorities. Yesterday, I took the petition into the Prime Minister's office. I gave it to his secretary. We had 641 hard signatures, and interestingly, online there were another 640, and I think people still continue to sign the petition. The thing has taken on a national and international flavor, and people are incensed. And so now that we have recognized that what the government was just trying to mamagai all of us with this little breakback of a 5-foot wall and so on the beach, people are incensed, George. There have to be no walls built up on the beach there. I'm sure a lot of that project already is in violation of the law of the land. But the walls, man. I mean, where they're going with that. So we are saying, well, they have until the weekend. We are set up until Saturday. If that is not done, we will heighten the protest, and it will, the protest will be heightened next week. So people will hear what it is that we're doing, because it ain't just me, George. There are a lot of people who are upset by this thing. I don't know why the government will not just come. The government is the custodian of our patrimony and heritage.
Yeah.
Why is it that they are allowing people to break the law?
Well, there's one good thing that's coming out of this.
Pick up a little here, go on low.
I said there's one good thing that's been coming out of this. We're finally seeing Grenadians start to react. The work that you and your team have been doing, for example, I think is really appreciated. I just hope that more Grenadians pay attention to what is going on, because I've said it before, Randall. I'm saying it again. Who vex, vex. This country is headed in the wrong direction, where the people are not being listened to by those they elected and pay to serve them. Go ahead.
George, it's interesting that you have said that, and let me say this action with respect to the beach has not taken on a political flavor at all. I mean, nobody even suggested. I think there was one person who tried something, and that was shut down like immediately, because nobody's head, is in any color divide with respect to Grand Anse Beach. Grenadians identify with probably 3 structures on this island that make them uniquely Grenadian. Grand Anse Beach as number 1, Granitang, the lake and all of that as number 2, and your Annandale Falls. We define ourselves. These are endearing features of Grenada that we love. And so to think of anything to interfere with the Grenadian enjoyment of Grand Anse Beach in all of its glory has struck a chord so deep within the Grenadian psyche that people have just reacted in this kind of way. And I think that the powers that be would be wise to pay attention to that.
Well, I hope they've heard you, Randall, because I know that a lot of people are taking note. I'm hearing from people overseas, and I hope that you continue the fight, please. A lot of Grenadians are depending on you guys, and I hope that you'll be joined by others as well. Thanks a lot.
Yes, thank you very much, George, for the opportunity. And of course, we will be speaking to the civil society organizations and so on during the coming week, because it is time that their voices to be heard in this matter. I'm sure they have a lot to say, so let's join forces and let's make this let's take back the beach for Grenadians.
And please promise me that you will keep us informed on the next step in your strategy.
Certainly, George.
All right, take it easy.
Take care. Have a blessed one.
You too, my dear.
Right.
Okie doke. That's Randall Robinson speaking to us on the telephone there. And let me see here. I do have a little note for you guys about the weather, something that you guys ought to keep in mind over the weekend. But first, let's take this break.
Together with you, our customers, we energize our community.
Together with you, we energize our economy.
We are working together to give our nation a better tomorrow.
With you, we energize our future. Together, we energize our nation.
Thank you for partnering with us as we energize our Spice Island.
Grenlec, energizing our Grenada.
Can I have a chicken lunch, please? Large.
Real nice today.
Mm-mm. I don't want that.
But you just asked for a chicken lunch.
I don't have problem with the lunch. Afraid the container.
What is the problem with it?
These styrofoam containers, they don't good for the environment. They shorten with life.
What foolishness you telling me? So what you want me to use?
Put my food in this. Where you get that? At the food fair, where you could get all biodegradable food boxes and disposable food supplies like cups, plates,
Anything you could think about, name it, it's there. And they don't harm the environment.
Food fair taking the lead in cleaning up and protecting the environment. Hey, like you take me advice, you get in your biodegradable food supplies.
Well, girl, I supporting who's supporting the environment. That is why I shop in at food fair.
Food fair, where you can fill your baskets without emptying your pockets. Products distributed by Hubbard's agency, Kirani James Boulevard.
Grenada Market has now introduced the prime products to online shoppers in the UK via amazon.co.uk. Zeberpick, Nutmeg, Bobanday and Mobiback are now available, with more products being added gradually. These products are shipped across the UK and Europe free of charge for Amazon Prime members and backed by Amazon's reputable customer service. Avoid international shipping. Buy in your local area. Amazon.com in the USA, Amazon.ca in Canada, and Amazon.co.uk in UK and Europe. GrenadaMarket.com. When you can't come to the island, the products of the island will come to you.
Okay, folks, we're just about at the end of today's program, but I do have a note here from the guys down at the meteorological office at Maurice Bishop. It says here, pay attention, tropical wave 600 miles to the southeast of the Cabo Verde Islands has a 20% chance through the next 48 hours and a 60% chance through the next 5 days of becoming a cyclone. Okay. Looks like the Atlantic's really alive right now. Why not? September. A weak low pressure area about 600 miles east, hear this, of the Windward Islands has a 10% chance through the next 48 hours and also a 10% chance through the next 5 days of becoming a cyclone as well, okay? So just keep your eyes and ears open. That's going to do it. Before I go, I want to extend an invitation to all of you to join me for the next edition of Sundays with George Grant. And that's going to be on Sunday morning at 9 o'clock right here on Grenada Broadcast. Looking forward to see the whole lineup of you, gang, from around the world. It's always such a pleasure on a Sunday morning. I do pray that God will bless you and keep you. Keep the faith, even in the darkest of times. And by His grace, I shall see thee on Sunday morning. So long.